Make my wish come true, baby. All I want for Christmas is some bloody goals. Millwall 0, Ipswich 0. Welcome to Blue Monday and Ipswich Town podcast. I mean, Joe, it wasn't the only place today. We did have Stoke 0, Preston 0, Middlesbrough 0, Blackburn 0. I think Hull drew. Lovely day if you're a Coventry fan. We'll get there, but bit of a tired Boxing Day down at Millwall. You were there.
Yeah, very, very much so. And I think that sort of translated from the stands and the pitch. You see that 1 p.m. on Boxing Day in the calendar and think, oh, this goes sort of one or two ways. And it went the way that I think most people would have expected. There wasn't a huge amount of noise from the Ipswich fans, sort of spread along that bottom tier mainly. And then the Millwall fans didn't really do a lot themselves. There wasn't a huge amount of passion, excitement, goal mouth action at either end of the pitch. So it was very much this was a game that happened at 1 p.m. on Boxing Day. Enjoy it. Dave,
where am I going wrong? I always put Boxing Day with like round 46. I think goals. Doesn't happen anymore. The players are too professional nowadays.
Well, that's
aren't
true.
they?
It's a far cry from the brief mention we did of that Boxing Day 1963 on the Rewind show when there was 66 goals scored in 10 games. Although the game this evening, which no doubt will get a mention later, made a bit of a dent in that. But no, how can I describe it? Poor fare, I think you describe it, with a bit of a Christmassy theme to it. Poor fare, I'd say.
Oh, never mind. Welcome, everybody. If you're watching live, we really, really love you because it is Boxing Day evening. So big thanks to Dave and Joe for jumping on here. Turned out this is probably the best time for us to do this. If you're listening on delay, we really, really thank you. And we will try and keep you up to date with the Blue Monday schedule as we go. We're pretty much just going to go react, predict, review, preview, all the way through till FA Cup third round. But it was, as we've mentioned, Millwall 0, Ipswich 0 today. If you were there and you've already got home, like Joe has, get your thoughts down there in the comments. Let us know what you thought of the game. And I suppose we'll get Joe and Dave's take on the game, and then we'll probably talk at large about the division and the top half and where things stand now this Christmas. Dave, your ITFC 11. Oh, we're going to get Dave's take on the passing of Robin Turner as well. We'll do that after we have reviewed the game. Here's your 11, DD. It was Walton in goal, Furlong, O'Shea, Kipre, Davis. Mattassi were partnered by Jens Kajust. McAteer gets the nod down the right-hand side. Nunez, Philogene. It is Azon in up top in the absence of George Hurst. And one, Wesley Burns, Esquire, on the bench, Dave. Your thoughts on the 11?
Well, first, very great to see Wes back on the bench, and a very tiniest of cameos near the end, but absolutely superb. The lad has worked really hard to get back, and it's brilliant to see him.
Liverpool away, Dave, 25th of January.
25th of December, yeah, so pretty much 11 months, 11 months almost to the day, yeah. I mean, obviously, McAteer in for Egley, was that there? I mean, obviously the back four now, that's been fairly static for the last 5-6 games. Central 2, Mattassi with Juice didn't change from the weekend. So McAteer in for Egley, obviously Azon replaced the injured Hurst. I don't know. A toss-up perhaps who played that 9 role, Azon or Akpom. None of them have particularly played it well from the start when they've been called upon for the start this season. And yeah, I mean, obviously Azon got the note. He played the majority of he replaced Hurst after 10 minutes last Saturday. So yeah, and like I said, really, really good to see Burns back on the bench.
What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, well, I sort of put the team, but I thought it was going to be in a Telegram group earlier and just sort of said these are the 3 players where you're not sure who's going to be, and it was the 8. It's almost like there's a regular 8 now, and then it's the right wing position isn't really sorted. The central midfield position next to Matt Seward isn't particularly sorted, and the number 9 position isn't particularly sorted. And those 3 problems, sort of probably showed when the game went on as well. During the game, the issues we have in those positions are just hurting us.
If you're having girl problems, I feel bad for your son. I've got 3 problems: the right winger, a number 9, and the central midfielder. I can't make it rhyme. Jay-Z is not impressed with that. The rest of the bench for Ipswich: Akpom, Egerly, Taylor, Clark, Burns we mentioned, Palmer on the bench. That'd be an interesting one. Young, Johnson, and Grebe. For Millwall, Joe, how would you describe this team? A workaday championship team who, when they've been in games this season, have got good wins and got a lot of wins, but I've had a few absolutely stinking results. I think they've gone down 4-0, 4-0 and 3-0 during the season. So I think he's at his ceiling, Alex Neil, with this lot. And they started the day in the playoff spot. So it was Crockham in goal. Kramer, who's been a really good signing for them. Taylor, Jake Cooper. It's the year 2025. If we're doing this in 2030, Jake Cooper will still be starting at centre half for Millwall. Joe Bryan, former playoff hero. Doughty, Mitchell, Langstaff, Negley, and Marku. Ivanovic, who we were quite hot on at the start of the season, but hasn't really lived up to it. Aziz has probably been Millwall's best player, Joe, and he was suspended.
Yes, yeah. So the team, obviously, as you always get Millwall, a land of the giants, as Joe Royal would describe it at the back. When you see like Ivanovic, he looks quite a big guy. At one point, he's standing in the wall alongside Taylor and Cooper, and he looks like a child standing next to those two there. They were absolutely massive and gobbled up everything that came to them in the air. And I say that when you look at them and they've got sort of Doughty and Billy Mitchell as their midfield too at the moment, you think, they're sort of struggling at the moment.
Doughty's a wing back, right?
Yeah, and he played sort of right in the centre of the park today. And you think you've got to try and win the game in midfield, but you look at you see the game plays out and you look at the contributions of the players, the stats-based things. And Doughty and Mitchell had the best of, well, could just especially
they would normally, Joe, have Casper Denor. One Massimo Luongo is injured as well. Who else is out in central midfield for them? Will Smallbone, although he plays a little bit further forward. So they're fairly bare bones in that midfield spot, Joe, as well, aren't they?
Yeah, and we probably should have taken more advantage of that than what we did.
Where do you kind of rank Millwall, Dave, in your fear factor? I mean, they are a top 6 team. We've gone away to a top 6 team today, but it's a funny old league this season, isn't it?
It's a crazy old league, isn't it? Yeah, look, they're functional at what they do, and as you quite rightly said, when they've been in games, they've ground out points this season. I mean, the 2 centre backs. Cooper, I think, gets, if it's possible, gets bigger every time I see him. He's just massive, isn't he?
Dave, he's only 30. He can do another 8 years at Millwall, sure.
Honestly, I think he's
growing. 8 years of growing.
Exactly. This is the only geezer I know still growing at 30. He's huge. Yeah, look, functional side, they didn't really look to play a lot in midfield, but we just didn't exploit it, did we, at all, really? Similar to a lot of away games this season. So some nice football, nice build-up, and then it all gets a bit slow and stodgy and turgid in the final third, doesn't it?
Joe, what's this all about away from home? That's no win in 4, and other than that 3-game win streak in November, where we won 4-1 twice, we just haven't won an away game this season, have we?
It's strange because we're the better team in most of them, and we can we control the games. I thought we controlled the game for the most part. Sorry,
today. West Brom and Birmingham have the same problems you're about to describe, but they're even worse than us away from home.
But we control the games and we look very solid defensively, but we just don't. I don't know. We just don't have that impact up front. I guess sort of Jaden Philogene scoring 8 goals at Portman Road and 0 away from home probably is. Sort of sums up why we're not winning games away from home, because he's the guy that you can rely on at Portman Road to have a spark to break the game open. We don't seem to have anyone that's breaking the game open away from home. We get into some fantastic positions, but we don't seem to either have that intensity or the push to make anything happen from that. Like even today, like 37 touches in the opponent's box. Well, you've got to do more with 37 touches in the opponent's box than what we did, which was not create a single big chance all game. Yeah,
I can't remember. The keeper did did he make a significant save? One from Philogene. From Philogene with his legs. Second half, that was about it, wasn't it?
Dave, I know the statute of limitations is going to expire on me comparing to previous McKenna teams, but in League One we dominated, and even in the Championship, as I've just described with Millwall, if we played badly in an away game, we drew it. we played anywhere near well, we won. We won the away game.
We just found a way.
What's the difference now?
It is to me. It seems like the intensity in the final third. There's still, we've spoken about it before. That right side is still not right, is it? I think Furlong, solid enough defender. It's just not the answer really going forward, and we really haven't sorted that right side out. Egley, I think he'll be a very good player, but I think he'll be a much better player playing further inside. Bless McAteer. First half was dreadful. Oh, geez, he was a shocker first half. Funny enough, first 20 minutes of the second half was probably the best spell he's had playing for us all season. Then of course it's obviously pre-planned. He's hooked anyway. But it's a painful watch, isn't it? It's a bit predictable and it's a painful watch. It really
Joe,
is.
Do you want to try and? I know we've got a 0-0. We'd normally be punctuated by goals and half times and then substitutions and stuff. Do you want to kind of take us through I must admit, I was covering Birmingham Derby and then eating sausage roll and trying to control and a newborn baby as well. I'm Uncle Ben again for the second time to little Lois, who is 4 days old. So spent the afternoon with her. But Joe, what was the pattern in the first half? 0.32 XG plays, 0.25. But it does say Millwall had 4 shots on goal.
Yeah, I'd say that the first 5 to 10 minutes was very end-to-end. The game was really, really open. And thought, this is going to suit us down to the ground. And the game was so open that at one point, Jake Cooper bursts down the right wing and puts a cross in for, I think it was Ivanovic, has a hook at a goal. And Walton sort of makes it. It's a really good effort from where he was, but you got to be going some score from there. And Walton makes a comfortable, but sort of looks sort of quite good save from there. And other than that, it was back and forth for that first 5-10 minutes. Then there was probably about 10 to 15 minutes of aerial bombardment. I describe it from Millwall, sort of balls into the box, long throws, set pieces, which we dealt with pretty well. And then from that point on, we probably got back on top for the next 15 or so minutes and were pushing them around, getting into good positions. Like I say, McAteer was getting into good positions and struggling with it. Philogene at one point sort of burst towards the goal, and for all the world, you look like he's just going to sort of send his bloke to the shops and knock on his left foot, and he miscontrols the ball and it just goes past him. Just makes a lovely break in midfield and ends up. And Davis and Philogene combine well on the left, and Davis puts a couple of good balls in. But we've probably had 5 or 6 positions where you've got to create a good chance from nearly all of them, and probably didn't create a single good chance from any of them. McAteer breaks and goes.
Joe?
I thought Azon was probably as bad as McAteer in the first half. I thought those two were, I wouldn't like to say stinking the place out, but any time the ball went to them, it just broke down. They couldn't hold the ball up. They almost ended up being more of a hindrance and a help when we got the ball into attacking positions. I think probably at one point, probably sums it up. McAteer gets the ball on the halfway line, is breaking towards the goal. Defenders going everywhere, but the problem is Azon is dragging his runs across him about 5 times, so he's getting confused, and everyone's in front of him because Azon's runs are so bad. And then McAteer then doesn't get a shot away, gets tackled, and the tackle just bounces off him and goes off for a goal kick. And you just think that break has probably summed up those two's half. It's sort of like a really good opportunity, and we got less than nothing from it. And didn't even get a set piece, didn't even challenge anything there. So it was frustrating. And I think on top of those, Jens Kajus was poor in the first half. He makes a couple of nice breaks, but one he gets turned. But you watch him off the ball and he's just strolling around like he's having a lovely day out in southwest London or southeast London on a Boxing Day, just not with it. And we carried those 3 players in the first half, and you just can't afford to do that in the Championship, especially against a side like Millwall, who for even if their ability at times may be limited, you know what you're going to get from a Millwall team, and that is 100% commitment all game. They're going to go in for everything, every 50-50, because if they don't, the crowd just do not stand for players not putting themselves about at the Den. That is funny when some of these grounds have these characters, and that's certainly one there. And yeah, we just had to carry 3 players in that first half.
Dave, that sounds well disappointing. What's your take on the first half?
Yeah, it was. It really wasn't that too many highlights for me. There was a ridiculous piece of control and turn from Nunes, which is quite out of place with the game, to be fair. And also in the first half, there was a volleyed right-wing cross from Nunes, which is a bit too high, but technically just looked at it. But Nunes was good, I thought, first half, really good. But sadly, as Joe quite rightly said, Philogene was huffing and puffing on the left, and he just didn't have anything in front of him. Nothing at all, really. So, yeah, really, a really non-event the first half, really. Walton was okay. Walton came, he made, as you said, quite a good save from Ivanovic. Came for a couple
Dave,
of crosses.
where you're there, mate, I've written down Walton shirt, ? Is the shirt his now?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, well, yeah, certainly. Didn't do anything wrong
Palmer
today.
now back on the bench.
Definitely. Yeah,
if he doesn't get injured and we get to the playoffs,
oh no, I would say
yeah?
I would be extremely surprised if out of the blue he drops. No doubt Palmer will. If Walton keeps his form for the next couple of games, no doubt Palmer will get a game in the cup game. I would have thought, but no, Walton's done enough to keep the shirt for me. It's not really been easy. I can't really remember him making too many mistakes since he's been back, really. But
he started 13 games since he's been back and kept 6 clean sheets on that.
Yeah.
And he claims the ball so much better, doesn't he?
Handling's really good.
Everything, yeah.
I think we got
Handling's really good.
25 points in the last 13 games as well, Joe.
Yeah, no, he's been good since he's come back. Good to see. You know, obviously hardly got any. Well, he didn't get any game time at all, barely. Well, that was his first full game of Championship 13 games ago, as we said, wasn't it? So yeah, it was just first half, non-event, very so typical of a lot of. I wouldn't say it was as bad as some of the away. I don't think it's as bad as Oxford. I don't think it was as bad as Blackburn, or I know I harp on about it the first half against Hull. It wasn't as bad as that, but it was a kind of a clash of styles. Really, it wasn't pretty. It really wasn't pretty.
Do you want to take us into the? Unless you disagree with Dave about Walton, Joe, do you want to take us into the second half?
Yeah, and second half sort of started much as the first had finished, with us sort of mostly in control. And I'd say we probably in the second half we got stronger and stronger as the half went on. And sort of I'll criticise him, but I'll give him credit now. I thought McAteer started the second half really brightly, got in some good positions, put a couple of decent crosses in, cut inside on his left foot and had a decent effort that was blocked. And we were playing well enough at this stage. We looked like the game's there for the winning, but we just need to try and find that little bit extra. But sort of made changes. The first set of changes was it Egley?
Egley and Akpom for McAteer and Azam.
Yeah, and I'd said sort of people around me in the ground, like Akpom has got a massive opportunity here, because with George Hurst out for a few weeks, we all know the that Ipswich want to sign a number 9 in January. We want to sign a number 9 every January, but realistically, if we get someone, it's not going to be this week or next week or the week after. It's going to be at the end of the month. When we signed Kiefer Moore in January, that was the 1st of February he signed.
I wonder what he was up to at 5:30.
Yeah, he had a decent day, didn't he? Yeah. But so you've got that there. And
took him off pens though, didn't they?
Akpom's got a big opportunity to sort of stake a claim. And I thought it was 3 times, but when I looked back, he touched the ball 4 times in 26 minutes for a side trying to chase a victory, and you're playing as a number 9. Well, I think that sums up. He's just not involved at all. And when he gets the ball, he looks strong and physical and holds it up well and uses his body and plays people in. But you've got to go and find the ball. Like you can't just do that, because he doesn't do them. Isn't like, for all Azon's faults, and there are plenty that I sort of went on about in the first half. He'll run the channels, he'll keep the defenders honest, he'll move them about. Akpom's not doing that, and he's not getting on the ball. And so you think, what you're saying about Egley, things picked up a little bit with Egley on that side. He cut inside a couple of times. One shot which sort of really struck it well through the defender's legs. I think it might have got a slight nick, and it just clipped the side net as it went through. The keeper was struggling on that one. He had another one where he cut inside and had a shot. That one looked a good opportunity, went quite far wide. I've not seen it back, but there was that one there. And then we made a couple more changes, which was Jack Taylor for the ineffective Jens Kayuste and Jack Clark for Jayden Philogene. And we sort of still picked up a little bit more, but not enough. And last change was Wes Burns on for Marcelino Nunez, and sort of was probably the biggest reception of the day. Wes Burns coming down for the warm-up and then coming on, and came on for like the last 4 minutes, and had one really good run down the side where he won a throw in, but it sort of came to nothing. And but like I said, we had some decent chance at the end there. We got the ball in the box, and Philogene has one where he sort of strikes it, and the keeper does well to save it down low. Akpom is very, very close to getting on the end of a Jack Clark ball in, but it's still a game sort of littered with little errors. Leif Davis sort of not controlling the ball properly. Jack Clark getting the ball and sort of losing it and having to get back. And then there's a foul. And it's just, we get ourselves into good positions. And, well, the disallowed goal for them is one where we're in a decent position, play a poor ball into the box. And the next thing you know, they're on the break. And but for a sort of poorly timed run, we're 1-0 down.
Oh, that was tight. That was tight, wasn't it? Really tight. Yeah, think about it. But no, Joe's right. We just huffed and puffed, really.
Didn't do enough to win it, Dave.
No, not a clear chance creation. As you said, the XG of the whole game is what 0.46 against 0.73. Not really.
Coin
Possession.
Dave, but I remember chatting to you at the Vic Watford this time last year, and I said, mate, this is a coin flip game. We both said we'll probably win tonight.
Yeah, but that's what we did.
Doesn't happen anymore, does it?
Yeah, no, that's what we did 2 years ago. You just come out the right side of games, and now we're just not. Whether it's self-belief, perhaps there is a bit of that. I don't know, but yeah, we just haven't really played well. All right, we got the 4-1 wins against Swansea and QPR.
Turns out that was a very good time to play Swansea as well.
I think so, and a 2-0 win against a very, very poor Hull side. And I think we've sort of flattered to deceive like we did today a lot of the time, really. Just don't know. Hard to put your finger on it, but yeah, what you do need, I do know, is an absolute quality 9, and they're quite rare pieces, aren't they?
Good luck with that, mate. Let me give you a positive, Dave. Second away clean sheet in 11 in the EFL. Okay. The only previous one was Hull. You're not having that at all, are you?
Well, it's a big straw.
Can I say that as well? Hull are good. I know you said against a very poor Hull side. It's a poor Hull performance, wasn't it?
How they get on today?
They drew at Wednesday, to be fair.
No problem. Yeah, but we said on the pod last weekend. They've strung 3 wins together, and that's what happens when you string.
Yeah. Especially this season.
It's I just can't make up my mind. This division, whether it's just collectively very average, or a lot of these teams are just stronger than 2 years ago. But certainly, I think a great piece of this is, we no longer have the surprise factor, and I think that's what caught a lot of teams out the other season, for sure.
I think they're now ready for us. I think there's more to it now, Dave. Than it's not just us, though, because you look at Southampton, who lost at Oxford today, Sheffield United lost at Wrexham, Leicester lost, didn't they? So that's the other 3 parachute teams all in the bottom half of the table.
Then that just says it's a stronger division, and maybe we've underestimated it
several times, Joe, in my roundup, where I've led by saying none of the parachute teams won. In fact, it's been a rarity in previous years when we've had sort of Burnley, Leeds, and Sheffield United. It was last year. I was saying all 3 of them were winning every week. So giant change there. Sorry, go on, Dave.
No, and just when it looks like the other parachute teams are starting to get a bit of momentum. But look today, Southampton today, Leicester. Last 2 games, Leicester.
What kind of buffoons would lose 2-1 at Oxford, Dave? Foolhardy performance.
But I'm sure people who know a lot more about it than I do will tell you what it is. But I think there's a way, and you see it in the Premier League as well, that the sides who maybe with the smaller budgets, the teams you'd say are sort of weaker squads, are much more physically strong and athletic, and are slowing the games down, breaking down, slowing down, long throws and that, and it's closing the gap, isn't it? And
it's the us against them mentality, isn't it? Of course it is. Big money Ipswich are coming to town, right? We're going to make it really, really difficult for them and be in their face and get in their face, and that's what they do.
But the fact you've got 4 parachute teams, and we're the only one that's sort of in the top half of the table. I know we're third, but
the other 3 in the top half.
The other 3 are all in the bottom half.
We've got 31 points.
Southampton at 12th, Joe, but your point stands.
Yeah, and you think like it's obviously not just an Ipswich issue, is it? It's an issue with not that it's an issue. It's a league-wide phenomenon that it's happening like this. And
I mean, it's no bad thing if you're a neutral. We'd be moaning if we weren't a parachute team.
Neutral.
Fair comment. Let me try and give you some other good news then, Joe. Only Watford, Coventry, and Bristol City in the top half won. I mean, we'll talk about Coventry in a little bit, but to quote David Diamond, stick a fork in us, we're done. They could go 16 points ahead of us with 22 rounds to play if they beat us and even out that victory at Portman Road. Joe, I will do this. These are objective facts. I know they're going to piss people off. 19 games since the window closed, 35 points, second to Coventry. 25 points in 13 since the Charlton 3-0. So second over that sample size as well. And in December, admittedly, I'm adding the Blackburn game in there. We're actually first. So I can give you a 19, 13 and 6 game sample size to say we will get automatically promoted. So this is terribly confusing, Joe, because the eye test doesn't say that. But if we're going to have a conversation about the league being very squished and close together and not much in it, then that actually works in our favour in the end, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think we've been having this discussion on Telegram over this last sort of hour. But what I'd say is we're now, I think there's probably a good argument that we're now defensively the best side in the league for the last dozen games. I think our
Since
goals.
Rob Edwards left Borough, yeah?
Yeah, but they were sort of, when you look at all the underlying numbers as well as the actual numbers, I think there's not a lot of teams getting a huge amount out of us in any game. Like you look at the only place we conceded goals in the last sort of month or so was that Leicester game. One was from 65 yards. One was a brilliant strike from 30 yards. We're not really conceding many chances. We're not really conceding many goals. We're pretty solid at the back. But when we get forward, we have a lot of the ball. We have a lot of touch in the opposition box, but we don't create enough. Like I watched I've watched Coventry a few times, and they just have that spirit, that momentum where they just push and push. And yeah, they might leave.
If I may come in, Joe, you are totally correct. XG conceded 18.9 is not only the lowest, but by far the lowest in the league. Middlesbrough next with 22.2. Say more.
Yeah, so I think we're now a team that's probably going to be very solid at the back, and it's now just trying to find a way to unlock something going forwards. I don't think the last 19 games when we're basically 2 points per game is pretty. It's almost like that's almost like the floor of where we're going to be ability wise, points wise, because defensively, I don't think we're really going to go anywhere sort of worse from here. It's just, can we get the attack functioning? And whilst I guess you sort of say with all this quality, we've got to find a way to do it. It will happen. I think probably the evidence of our eyes is suggesting that it might not happen. This might just be how it is till the end of the season. We just plod along and hopefully reel Middlesbrough in by sort of getting 5 more points in them over the next 23 games.
Above them over all those sample sizes, Joe.
Yeah, because they started with when we had.
Well, they started with a 4-game win streak,
12,
and they've had a 4-game win streak recently as well.
Yeah,
we're still above them in the 3 sample sizes.
Yeah, and like I said, we are very, very slowly reeling them in, but it's sort of it's not like one where you just put the runs together. Coventry look like they're gone. Effectively, it's the only way Coventry don't go up is if they sort of over the next 23 games pick up like 30 points.
That's got to be Bielsa leads 9 defeats in 2019 in the second half of the season or something.
Yeah, it's one of those sort of runs. But
yeah, you're right. Yeah,
but really, I do feel like we are at a position where this sort of ticking over at roughly 2 points per game is the least we can almost expect, because we have enough to win every game. We don't concede many goals. We don't look like we're conceding many goals, and this is it. It's just, can we find a way to make it click? And I guess we go through what I think are the 3 problem positions and why are the problem positions sort of later on in the pod. We'll get to those. But
some of the last, don't worry.
Yeah, I'm not. Like I think Hamish mentioned, like I thought we were gonna blow the league away in August, and I did, and we just don't seem to have that, I don't know, character, mentality,
no
impetus, sort of buzz that does it. But when you look at the League One season, all of a sudden we were on quite a poor run, and we beat Forest Green 4-0, and then we beat Morecambe, and then we beat
and there's no Plymouth and Sheffield Wednesday flying away in this league.
Yeah, and then
Coventry.
All of a sudden we're like 15 games where we won 14, drew 1, and conceded 2 goals across it. And I think the defensive side, with Christian Walton back in as well, who was a goalkeeper during that run, I think we're in that position where we could string a run of not to that level of defensive. But I think if you said over the next 15 games we could see 6 or 7 goals, I could see that. But I don't see a score in 30, 40 at the other end. It's just what do we do to get the goals in the squad?
Dave, I think Joe's right. What is your take then?
Do you know what?
The only thing, just quickly before you come in, Dave, the only thing that bugs me about what Joe said is a team with that weakness won't win a playoff semi. Not over 180 minutes. They won't.
I still think a lot of it comes down to momentum. Don't forget the championship season. We were on, as Joe quite rightly said, that second half of 22-23. That's right, isn't it? Yeah, that second half of 22-23, where we suddenly went on a run where we won 14 out of 16 games. We took that on. We had that mentality, and you take that, the context of it, you take that on into the next season. So did we win the first 7 out of 8 or something like that in the championship season? And I still think it's a different.
It's better than that, Dave. It was like 11 out of 12 or something.
Well, there you go. You know, and I still say you're still taking that negativity into this season from last season. I know it's much of a different squad, but you're still taking that negativity into this season. And just like obviously we've picked up really well since the 3-0 Charlton defeat, but we just I honestly think for the first 10 games we just couldn't shake that off. I think we're getting there now, but I still think the side just needs some more self-belief about it in that final third. I think, you know.
So I'm just looking at Easter: Southampton, Birmingham, Norwich, Middlesbrough. Could be a fun old April, but I still think we'll be. I agree with Joe's ceilings and floors theory. I don't think there's not much dynamic range between where this team could be, where this team is, and the lowest this team.
The quality's there. You can see it at times. The quality's there in the squad, but it's just not quite working.
It's very difficult to see Preston or Hull or Millwall or any of these teams around it sort of being able to carry on that sort of
73 points and be in the playoffs, can't they? Both those teams.
No, and I think they will do some of those, at least one of those.
Preston will, yeah.
I just don't see a way that they probably don't even repeat what they've done in the first half of the season, the second half of the season. I think they probably slide back a bit from there. So it does feel very much like it's Coventry plus Middlesbrough, Ipswich. That looks like the top two. And when you look at the bookies, that is almost.
Well, Joe, God, look at the projection. If I double. So we're in third. If I double that at the halfway mark, 76. So right now, if you score 77 points in your Middlesbrough, you're automatically promoted. 77. That's the standard we're talking about this year. And last season, if you scored 99, you weren't promoted. So,
but you look at the sort of since transfer windows ended, and you're sort of 36 and 19. You can add another 36 for the next 19, then you got another 4. We'd say another 7 or 8 on top of that. So you probably end up 83, that sort of range, and it's
Might
just
be enough.
It's just finding a way to turn 83 into 88, isn't it? Trying to pick up a couple of wins from there because it's for Middlesbrough to do that.
Yeah. All right. Final summons up then. Dave, Millwall 0, Ipswich 0.
This might well become the most underwhelming promotion we've ever had.
I'll take it. I said this a couple of months ago. Paul Heckingbottom got Sheffield United promoted, and it was like 21, 22, and they were just kind of.
Average, slightly above average most games.
Get it done. Hang fairly close to Burnley and made it up. And we're promoted. Lovely.
The only a few positives you can take from today. A few really. Clean sheet. Got a point away against the top 6 side. Where those straws I'm grasping at, and lovely to see that.
Ticked it off, Dave. You've ticked
it off, and a lovely little cameo from Wes Burns. And really, I don't think you can take too much other than those 3 little tidbits. Really.
Should we move on, Joe, to a word from our show partners at Atwell?
Blue Monday is brought to you in partnership with Atwell Solicitors, your ideal legal partner for property and business law. Whether you're buying a home, starting a business, or just need legal guidance, our dedicated team has got you covered. Trust our award-winning customer service team to handle your legal matters with care and expertise. Find out more at atwells.com or visit us at our offices in Ipswich, Colchester, London, and our new location in Woodbridge.
Thank you to the wonderful people at Atwells. Thank you to the wonderful people who are here live and in the flesh on Boxing Day evening after a 0-0. We love each and every one of you. Please, while you're here, thumbs up on the video. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. And please do check out the possibility of hitting that join button to get our top tier content. You get some brilliant written content each and every week, sometimes multiple times a week. And you get 2 extra live audio shows each and every week on top of that. as well. We're going to get to Dave on the death of Robin Turner very, very soon. It feels like we've kind of talked a lot about the league, so I'll crack through these results. Birmingham 1, Derby 1. Chris Davies under more pressure. Cov 1, Swansea 0. We'll get to them after the questions because we play them next. Leicester 1, Watford 2. Watford, my guilty pleasure. Borough 0, Blackburn 0, which is helpful. Norwich 1, Charlton 0. Norwich getting it together now. Oxford 2, Southampton 1. Eyebrows raised. Gary Rowett out, but great result for Oxford. Pompey 1, Rangers 1. Wednesday 2, Hull 2 is kind of helpful. So is Stoke 0, Preston 0. West Brom 1, Bristol City 2. Wrexham 5, Sheffield United 3. Joe, assuming we're going to come to Coventry in a little bit, do you want to talk about Borough? Had a win streak under Hellberg and haven't won any of the previous two.
And that's good for us as well, because I thought, like I say, if you look at the fixture today, Ipswich away at Millwall, Middlesbrough at home to Blackburn, and if you look at, like I say, I just checked the bookies odds while we were having the advert there. Coventry finishing the top two, 33-1 on. You bet 33 quid, you win 34 quid back. Ipswich 6-5.
For those of you who don't gamble, it's definitely going to happen according to the bookies. Carry on, Joe. Sorry.
Yeah, Ipswich is 6-5 second favourites, Middlesbrough 6-4 third favourites, and then it's Southampton 12-1, and then I think Hull, Bristol City 18-1.
Southampton.
So you are talking like a coin flip between Ipswich and Middlesbrough to join Coventry. So I think when you look at the fixtures today, away versus Millwall versus home versus Blackburn, that's probably one where Middlesbrough maybe have that. Oh, this is a gap. This is a day we could extend the gap, and
right,
they did extend the gap. So yeah, that's a positive in that regard. And so I read a message from a Middlesbrough fan after the game. He basically said first half they were excellent and thought we're just going to roll them over second half, but by the end of the game, they were quite happy to walk away with a point.
That's one thing they are doing. They drop off at halftime every game now. The only thing is they've been 2-3-0 up at halftime in a couple of them, haven't
they? And one thing they did get away with, Hayden Hackney, who's sort of playing the pitch every week, committed an awful foul, which should have been a red card.
Destined to play all 46 and I think maybe 49 games this season.
For 49 games. Yeah, and then that'd be a 3-game ban, and that would be a huge problem for them. But it didn't happen. They get away with that and sort of come away with the point. But yeah, but you look at like Hull, draw with Sheffield Wednesday, Preston Stoke. That's probably a sort of decent result for Preston that away at Stoke 0-0. Bristol City, a decent win away at West Brom with at home aren't a bad side. And
yeah, Bristol City are all over the place though. I bloody hate it. I love the playoffs when Ipswich aren't in them, but I'll take Bristol City in the playoffs. I don't want to go to Preston, particularly away in the first leg if we finish above them. But Dave, anything you want to comment on there?
No, not too much really. Joe's covered it all. I mean, the game this evening, the Wrexham Sheffield United game, really nice finish. The first goal from Bamford was a brilliant finish. Obviously, Big Kiefer got his goal. Goal, sorry, yeah. Other than that, yeah, I mean, as you said, not just us. Southampton going 2-1 down at 2-1 down at Oxford. Norwich up the road, grounding out another home win. So you'd think they'll be all right. They'll be all right. They'll be all right. So yeah. So yeah, look, a disappointing result, perhaps. And no, look, take the point. Disappointing performance from us. But Coventry aside, who I think, as Joe quite rightly said, are gone, and the bookies know they're gone. Not a half bad set of results. Could have been a lot worse.
Right, get your questions in. Also, get your tributes into a recently passed member of the Blue Army, Robin Turner. David Diamond is going to give his now, and we will go to questions. Then we'll talk a little bit about Coventry to round it out. Forgive me, when did Robin Turner pass? Was it just before Christmas?
I think so.
Or has it been the last couple of days?
Yeah, no, I think earlier this week.
This
Monday,
week.
Yeah, Monday, Tuesday.
Do you want to say a few words, Dave?
Yeah, so
your wheelhouse, mate.
Yeah. So came from another one of these signings. Came down to Ipswich in the northeast. I think played in one or two of our FA Youth Cup winning sides of 1973 and 75. He certainly played in one. Can't remember. And I mean, great longevity he was here from, I think he left in 84, so incredible longevity. I think he only played only participated in something like under 70 games, I believe. So very much a squad player in those times. Although when we used to play two up front, Johnson and Weinmark, Mariner, Weinmark, Mariner Brazil, etc. He was very much a bit player. As our good friend Colin and several people have mentioned him, he's best known for the famous FA Cup game in the snow at Bristol Rovers, where he scored
indoors moment, that one, Dave.
2 to keep us in the cup. I played a few games after that and actually played, I think, a full 90 minutes, I can remember, in the cup semi-final at Highbury. But by the time the cup final came along, Robson went with, obviously, technically wise, went with David Geddes, which turned out to be a master stroke up, playing that right side pretty much alongside Marin.
He'll do that, Bobby.
Yeah. And but he was around for the UEFA Cup, so he made perhaps several appearances, again, several bit part appearances in those seasons that followed, 78 through to 80, 81, 81, 82. So, never less than 100% when he played. Perhaps a little bit, not the biggest of players, quite quick. I recall him being quite quick. And went on to play local league football, certainly played at Bury Town. And I certainly know he played in the I think he played in the licensed trade league, Sunday morning leagues around Ipswich. So, very much loved. And like I say, very much well remembered for that superb 2 goals at Bristol Rovers that ultimately led to the cup final win. So, rest in peace, Robin Turner.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Joe, I know Dave's the king of stuff like this. Have you got anything to add, mate?
No, only that sort of in the modern rules, he would have been getting a medal both for the 78 FA Cup final and the 81 UEFA Cup final, because he played a big part in, especially the 78 Cup run with the goals.
Good point.
Which effectively kept us in the competition away at, was it Bobby Gold's Bristol Rovers, was it back then? But it was,
Bobby Gold was playing for him.
Was he playing? Yeah. It's a shame that these guys didn't get medals when there was just the 12 medals for the players on there. And even, I think recently, it even took sort of Kevin Beattie wanted to be named on the bench to get medal. Maybe he was on the bench for the final, because I think you could have 5 subs there. So he may well have got an 81 UEFA Cup medal. And I hopefully he did, because sort of fine achievement to hang around. And you don't get those sort of players anymore, do you? The ones that just hang around as a reserve, effectively. It's just, like I said, there was 2 or 3 in that area, sort of Tommy Parkin and people like that. Even Steve McCall, to an extent, until he had that huge run of games, just players who were just there and not playing very much, but just part of the squad for years and years.
He was part of the first team squad probably for arguably 12 seasons. So 12, 10, certainly 10.
I think Rich put it in the private chat, 73 to 85.
There you go. Incredible.
So 12 seasons. Yeah. Brilliant stuff. Rest in peace, Robin Turner. Great tribute. Thank you. Dave, as ever. Right, shall we get into some questions? Get your questions in on today's game, and then we will do a little bit of chat. I think, forgive me if I'm wrong, Rich, I think Rich is in the background there. Let us know if there's anything coming pre-Coventry. I think there might be, actually, but I don't know my arse from my elbow. I don't even know what day it is. I got the day wrong about 5 times today. I was determined it was Thursday. Joe, any Millwall players do you think might enhance your team? You like the Aussie midfielder, just covers the left back quite nicely.
Big
out injured at the moment.
Not Massimo. No, he certainly would be decent in our team. But I guess Ivanovic was the one we sort of watched sort of more closely today, and he was the best striker on the pitch, but that wasn't a particularly high bar to clear.
Yeah. Nobody else. You like Denor, Joe? I know you didn't see him today.
No,
more of a ball player in central midfield.
I don't think there's much that would improve us in their side, but I think Ivanovic is obviously the young guy with potential that we'd like. No, I think we're pretty set. Like I say, I think the only I'll go for it now. Where sort of the 3 issues we got is central midfield along Matasi, where we got Kajus, who looks fantastic on the ball when you give him the ball to turn and run with it, but other than that, might as well not be on the pitch at times. And then you replace him with Taylor because you think, okay, we need a bit more solidity in there. And Taylor does give you that, but then when it comes to progressing the ball, he just doesn't do it as well as he needs to. So you need to combine those 2 players to come up with one. On the right wing, I think that Casey McAteer, I think he needs to have a little run in the team, because I think that's all that Egley had that he didn't, just to sort of try and get his confidence up, because he looked better in the second half. And I think you look at that and you just hope that he can do something. Wes Burns coming back helps with that, and Egley can maybe drift more centrally to compete with Nunes and give you a different option when you need it in there. And then the 9 role, it's just, I mentioned Azon, he just isn't doing enough. And it's the problem there is just the drop off from George Hurst. I know he's had his knockers this season, but I think George Hurst
his knockers
is still a very good striker for us. Makes some great runs, drags people about, and whilst he may not always score when he gets some decent chances, I think he does enough in the game to show it. And I think we'll miss him, especially against Coventry when they're playing that ridiculously high line they like to at the back. And we haven't got
with
him
Luke Wolfenden in it today, Joe, as well.
Yeah, and the last game I think Wolfen played as well, didn't he?
I think they went to a 3 in that one. I think they'll go back to a 4 against us, won't they?
Yeah, to keep him, just to keep them honest. And I just don't think Azon and Akpom between them is enough in that 9 role, and it could really, really hurt us over this next few weeks when we need to
Dave,
get some wins.
Brian, question: was today's lineup our best team? Surely not without Hurst, even in spite of what Joe's just said. Dave?
Yeah, no, players on the books at the moment. No, not without Hurst. He was a definite. He hasn't been at his best, but he was a definite miss today. Yeah, as Joe quite rightly said, both are such a downgrade on Hurst. And Hurst hasn't set things alight this season, but they're just at a level below Hurst, unfortunately. So yeah, he was a big miss today.
Dave, I'll stick with you, mate. We never on this podcast pretend to know anything that we don't know. So I'll rephrase Neil's question from can we get out of any of the loans in January to if you could, Dave, would you get out of any of the loans in January? Who we got on loan?
Oh, mate, look, it's really not worked with Akpom, has it? It really hasn't. I hope it does, but that would probably be the main one. It just hasn't worked out.
What, free up the salary?
Well, yeah, you'd think so. It hasn't really worked with Azon either. But you're going to need someone else up there. So yeah, it's just not really.
I think Azon as a sub, he generally comes on, makes a difference, does all right, doesn't he? So
impact. He's an impact. But he's
a number 3 striker, isn't he, for us?
Yeah,
and he's having to be a number 1 for the next few weeks.
He's an impact. I mean, it's probably easy to say, who's been success. And Kipre's alone with an obligation. Have I got that right?
Yeah.
I mean, I take it all back because I much preferred up to half a dozen, 6, 7, 8 games ago. I much preferred Greaves. I'd say on there with that nice left foot balance, but Kipre's been superb, and he was superb today. And he's one player that you can see the physicality he's got, maybe pace wise, I don't know, but he's quick as well. The physicality wise, if you got promoted, you'd want him in the team. You'd want him in the trenches just for his sheer physicality. He's been really good. But yeah, I would say out of all of them, probably Akpom just hasn't worked. He looks devoid of any confidence at all, and he would be the one probably.
Right, I'm gonna aggregate 4 questions for you, Joe, here because they're all about number 9s. Higgy, where are we going to find a number 9 from in January? Dan, who's a realistic number 9 target? Robin, do you realistically think we could get Piru from Leeds? And just while those questions were coming in, this is not the crass comparison because I know he's literally the greatest striker in Championship history other than Kevin Phillips. But Fulham loaned Mitrovic. It's just to illustrate a point of what a loanee in January can do. He scored 12 goals in the second half of the season. So you can get a complete... Obviously, he was a complete animal. And, as I say, other than Kevin Phillips, probably the best striker and maybe Pookie, although people get cross if I praise Norwich players.
No, you're probably right, aren't you?
In recent years. But what about number 9s? What about Joel Piru as well? Who was the, I'm going to say, Joe, was the golden boot after Smodics and Akpom?
Should we just get Daryl Murphy back?
Get him in there. Dave bloody loves Daryl Murphy. Get it in the channel ball, Murph.
Don't we all?
Yeah, but I'm sure we could attract Joel Piru, but there'll be a lot of competition for him. But it will be competition from top-end Championship clubs, and we'd probably be the favoured one. But Leeds will want to hold on to him till the end of the window, till they make sure that
Leeds
they get
some really well at the moment, though.
Yeah,
with Calvert-Lewin and
he's found it, isn't he?
He's had
Nemecha
isn't
and
he?
Okafor, yeah.
Calvert-Lewin's found it.
Get it in the box, Dave. Get it in there.
Get it in there, mate. He's a beast.
Carry on, Joe. Sorry.
But yeah, Peru, I think we could get him, but it's just, is it a deal that's going to be done early? Probably not. Is it the right deal? Quite possibly. I think it's just who are the other options? I think Neil in the comments, who I saw a couple of times today, mentioned Sam Surridge, who's in.
Where's he now?
I think he's at Nashville in the MLS, but he's
writing songs.
25. Scored like 25 goals in like 35 games. Them out in the MLS, and I think
Joe,
he's
to your
one
point,
we've been
mate,
in for.
And it is a wise point. Sorry to interrupt you. Before the transfer window closes in the EFL, We play Coventry, Oxford, Pompey, Blackburn, Bristol City, Sheffield United, and Preston. We play 7 games before the window closes, and that takes us to 30. So there'll only be 16 left when the window closes. You're right.
Yeah. And chances are, at best, you might get someone in for the last 2 of those, and then you got to get him up to speed. But I say Kiefer Moore, we should have kept him. We should have kept him last time.
That's a 3-game week at the end there, Joe, I think, isn't it?
How late can you call? How late did we get Kiefer Moore last time? Was he last?
He was on February the 1st, like literally past the end of the window. Well, not past it. The window ended on the 1st of February last year, and he signed on the very last day of the window.
Before, knew the championship like the back of his hand, like the most ready-to-go championship striker you can get, yeah?
Yeah, came in, scored 2 goals on his debut, and I know he lost the pressing that day, but just didn't look back. But
he was like a boil in the bag, wasn't he? Exactly what he was like, ready for the oven.
And you need someone who's playing. This is such a hard person to do because you need someone who's playing. You need someone who's up to speed. You need someone who's ready to come in at a top-end championship club, like a parachute team, effectively, not just even you sort of say like someone like Ivanovic at Millwall, like. Is he ready to step up at this level? Probably not. At this stage, it's such a hard deal to do, and it's going to go right through the window. But yeah, we left ourselves short in August, and we're still short now.
Ben, you watch Championship football day in, day out. Well, come on, anyone knocking about that we haven't thought about in the Championship?
Not that you could get. And if you actually, I hate the wanky term.
What's Cameron Archer doing? I guess Southampton wouldn't sell him to us, but
0. He's doing absolute 0. But would they sell to another parachute team? And he'll be a big white elephant. He's another giant transfer fee. Is it these players, Dave? They get trapped in that purgatory of. I mean, Joe will know more about the big academy, giant transfer fee, and then. They can only be afforded then by parachute teams, and parachute teams don't want to sell to parachute teams. So it's purgatory, isn't it?
Just imagine if we could get Archer in and him and Akpom scored 30 goals between them between February and
I was going to talk about profile and looking at the people in the top scorer list in terms of Hurst being a bit of a big lump who can run channels as well. The people up there, I suppose, Hegebo, McBurney, who we were in for at the start of the season.
And Adjumang at Derby we were in for.
Yeah, 6 million, yeah. Vipotnik, Morris are the only ones that matched. If you played Gelhardt centrally, but nobody ever does. Actually, he's an interesting one because he's on loan from Leeds.
Yeah, he's a player. Was more at Bournemouth when we got him from Bournemouth, didn't we? Did we?
Yeah,
we did.
I remember, Joe, did we?
Yeah, Bournemouth, wasn't it?
Bournemouth on loan, and then he went off to Sheffield United, and now Wrexham. Yeah, he's had so many championship clubs, Kiefer. But hey, hindsight's a wonderful thing. Troy, there you go. I don't know. We spoke about the repurposed loans, didn't we? Lancashire at Oxford and Gelhardt at Hull, people like that. Joe, what's that Mubama like at Stoke? Is there any chance you can do a rehab job if they want to repurpose there?
Yeah, I really like him. I thought against us, I thought he did well, but again, it's a lot to ask for him to come in and be the main man for us, isn't it? And I think it's a big risk to take. Is he going to be? What level is he going to be at? The level of Azon or the level of Hurst? I think even you need someone ideally you want someone who's better than Hurst, but just somebody who's as good as him would help a lot at the moment. And even that's going to be bloody hard to find.
Right. Thank you for your wonderful questions. Let's talk about Coventry. And, we discussed Coventry plenty. They're the best side in the league. They're tracking 100 points now. They're at 51 at the halfway mark. And despite it being even relatively sticky, the promotion gap for Coventry is 13 points. It's us. And again, I just go to my question, Dave. If we draw against them, it's 13 points with 22 to play. If we lose, it's 16 points with 22 to play. If I'm Frank Lampard, privately, I'm saying to the players, you can kill Ipswich today. Yeah. You can be quite bad, and if you've got a 16-point advantage, they're probably not gonna overtake you. It's like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I'm not sure what the advantage Leeds had over us at one point a couple of years. Was it? And never double figures, was it? In the second half of the season, nowhere near, was it? Not quite.
God,
I mean, it was like 7 or 8, I think. But honestly, Ben, if they, God forbid, if they beat us on Monday, I think they're gone. They're done. Honestly, it would take a real drop
anyway.
off. Well, I think you're right, Joe. I think you're probably right. Yeah. Yeah, it's just reeling in Middlesbrough. I mean, I don't perhaps can Middlesbrough go again in the window? Probably not. Not with the not with.
I think they probably can. Yeah,
probably can. Obviously, not with the clout that we can. But
no,
it's going to be another crucial window. All you can say is if our transfer windows have the same impact as the last 2 promotion seasons, then we'll be all right. But that's going to be such a tough call.
It doesn't even need to be that, Dave, because we're in third. It just needs an impact. Yeah, we're not massive, not Broadhead level.
No, not League. No, we're not coming from where we were in League One. No, not at all. So, yeah, I mean, you're almost what you want. It wouldn't be a draw. A point for us on Monday wouldn't be a bad result. Joe's quite right. They're probably gone anyway, but a point would be a good. Look, you'd want a minimum 4 from these 2 games. Ideally, these 2 away games, but undefeated, you'll take a point and move on. Next game's what is it? Oxford at home, New Year's Day, would it be? So yeah, you take that into that.
I mean, if Joe's right that they're gone, and he probably is, the silly thing is the head-to-head against Coventry kind of becomes irrelevant. Yeah, you want to wrap
itself
3, 4, 6 points.
Instead of him, didn't they?
There's far more. Sorry, Joe.
Leeds beat us twice, didn't they? And
we beat no one except Southampton, did we? In the top of the table. So
true with Leicester,
they become irrelevant. Coventry are so good at home, Joe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins on the trot at CBS.
Yeah, well, like for Coventry, it's if they win, amazing, they're done. If they draw, good result still. Yeah, fine, if they lose, who cares? They're still going to go up anyway. So there really is pressure off for them at this stage, and it's a lot easier to play when the pressure's off in that regard. And I say we saw them against us. They're very fluid going forwards. They sort of really push, got real intensity. But that's the sort of team that suits us as it did that day, where teams, because they can be got at, they're not just going to sit back and ensure that they don't concede. They can be got at, and we probably. But Joe,
don't you think, depending on the game state, it can really go strongly in either direction? Like we could lose 3-0 or win 3-0. Yeah, and we could have lost the other game, couldn't we? If a couple of things went their way that went our way.
Yeah, but I don't think we'd lose 3-0 because I just think that
your point about our defence.
We just sort of sit in and. But the first goal, like it has been in every single one of our games this season, is absolutely key. And I say, if we can go there and
gone behind, Joe, in 7 of 11 away games. And if someone wants to look it up, I bet Coventry have taken the lead. Although, actually, no, they've been behind that's even worse. Coventry have been behind in a few home games and still gone and won them, Joe, haven't they?
Yeah, but like I say, we just need to try and get the first goal. And if we do, we'll probably be okay. If we let in the first goal, we'll probably lose. And so the Coventry game isn't going to define our season. It isn't going to define their season. So it's just one that hopefully we can get. If we can get the win, I think it'll be a massive boost for us because it's sort of one of those ones that just sort of sets you up for a really good run in. We've got a tough Christmas, free away games in the 4 games in 10 days. 3 of those being away is a real tough shift to put in. And if we can get the win there, then follow it up with the Oxford game, and then you've got great going to Portsmouth. But it's really, really difficult.
He's right, Dave. We then go Oxford 21st, Pompey 22nd, Blackburn 18th. So if you draw against Coventry and you can get 7 or 9 points,
you've got to pour it on these teams.
Yeah, really against those
find
teams
a way.
The bottom, then just the Coventry game, just try not to lose it, and really, and that's what we were. I'm going to do the comparison.
It should.
That's what we were brilliant at a couple of years ago. We decimated the bottom half, didn't we?
We did, and that game should, as Joe said, it should suit us. Is the home game? They'll come out and take the game. Take the game to us. So it really, really should suit us. Interesting to see if relatively clean bill of health. Obviously, we don't think Hurst is going to be fit. It was a relatively clean bill of health in the squad. Who we'll go with on Monday. But yeah, it should be a good game.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I think it's just coming up the hour mark on a 0-0 on Boxing Day. Thank you so much, all you wonderful people who have joined us, and a happy Christmas to each and every one of you. Last word from you, Joe. I'll give you 10 seconds.
Just bring on the second half of the season.
Last word from you, Dave. I'll give you 10 seconds.
Yeah, like Joe said, bring on the second half of the season. Let's get to that. Try and get to that 2 points a game, and that should be good enough.
Let's get to that 77-point mark promotion. Hey, thanks everybody for watching. Follow the socials for news of next shows, and we will no doubt see you pre, post, during, whatever, Coventry.